Hi everyone, my name is Dashani Shamgam and my metric number is 269819. Today I am going to present about identify and describe process involved in construction technology. There are 5 processes involved in construction technology, which is project life cycle, activities involved during construction project, key players, project planning and controlling, and a successful construction. The first process is project life cycle. There are 5 important phases of the construction life cycle, which is initiation, planning, execution, performance and monitoring, and closure.
First one is initiation. If you are a project manager and are not sure where to begin, start by evaluating the work ahead and conduct a feasibility test. A feasibility test examines whether the proposed solution aligns with the main objective. Is the project worth undertaking? From a broad perspective, define the project and write down possible solutions to specific needs. Do not make the decision alone. Consult your team. Ensure that a final recommended solution is identified. Once you give the project a green light, create a project initiation document, which is PID. A project initiation document is like a blueprint. It highlights the main purpose of the construction project. Planning is the second life cycle for the project. Planning is the key to the successful management of a single location or multi-location project. At this point in the construction life cycle, your team identifies the scope of the work and develops a roadmap. Identify the resources needed and the strategy of producing them. Every set goal must be SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. They should also be clear, collaborative, limited in scope, emotional, and refinable. A plan outlining it in the time frames, tasks, and dependencies comes in handy at this phase. The budget should provide cost estimates for materials, labor, and equipment. So the third one is execution. This is where most of your time should be spent. A project plan has to be put into practice. Effective communications plays a hard role during execution. Ensure that the budget stipulated in the planning stage is followed. As you watch the progress of the project, record any variations from the initial plan. A successful implementation stage is characterized by a well-developed team, allocation of resources, task assignment, implementation of project management plans, status meeting, update project schedule, tracking system in place, and modification of project plans. Performance and monitoring. This stage happens simultaneously with the implementation process. Performance and monitoring ensure that every item aligns with the project schedule. It is therefore a regular pace that ought to be revisited during execution. Every activity of a commercial construction process from start to finish should align with the project management plan. The best tools to use at this stage are KPIs or key performance indicators. Closure is the final step. This is important as it offers the deliverables to the client. Review the punch list to see that all weak areas has been accomplished. Inform your team and hand over the documents to your franchise operations. Before terminating supplies contracts, review termination provision and give written notice. Finally, conduct a study to examine the lessons learned. Identify what went as planned and where things did not go well. This analysis can be useful for future project teams. Have you encountered difficulties organizing tasks and keeping track of everything? Cinema is an easy way to save all the documents in a single location. These cloud-based management tools offers powerful communication features. You can even use it to create a restaurant construction timeline. It provides an effective storage mechanism for organizing key details. Moreover, you can track development costs and the progress of multi-location sites. It is all about increasing transparency with stakeholders. The activities involved during construction project. So the first activity is marking and grading. Marking is one of the first construction activities which involve marking the area of the plot for reference. This helps the workers to always be able to orient themselves in terms of their workspace. Grading helps to ensure that buildings are even last long and maintain maximum support. There may be particular circumstances when something is being constructed that will require the slight incline or decline to the base surface. In this case, it will be very important that the incline is exactly the correct angle. It is a matter of safety and plays a major role in construction management. Grading uses big machines to help ensure the space is level or that it is at the appropriate angle that it is supposed to be. So the second one is concreting. The process of pouring concrete is another major activity in construction. It is often used for the base of building for roads, bridge pipes and many other applications. One of the reasons it has become so popular in the construction industry is that concrete is easy to make and in large quantities and it change state. Plumbing. In structures that require plumbing, there are specific plumbing activities that must occur to ensure they will function properly. This includes putting in piping and fixtures for both incoming potable water and outgoing waste. Electrical. Individuals working as electricians on a construction product are responsible for ensuring that the structure will ultimately have full access to electricity from the transformer provided by the electrical company, which is located close to the building. There are several steps that go into the installation of electricity in a build, including temporary electrical needs, a rough installation, and finally the real installation which will be used. The final one is finishing. Finishing in construction means putting on the final touch of a structure in order to prepare it to be used. This includes but is not limited to activities like glazing, flooring, painting, wallpapering and plastering. It is most often about finally aesthetic touch and slightly less about safety and function, although all finishing activities are a crucial part of a final construction product. Two are the key players in construction project. So the first one is client. The first type of construction organization is the client-based organization. The CIOB code of practice for program management in the built environment define a client as the entity, individual or organization commissioning and funding the project directly or indirectly. The Health and Safety Authority further defines a client as the person or company with the controlling interest in the project. Generally, the client will retain a significant level of control over the assessment and appointment of designer and constructor for a project. You will explore client organization in more detail in the task at the end of this step. The second one is the contractor, main contractor and subcontractor. Traditionally, client has been engaging contractors to carry out building project construction works. These are the people with the technical know-how to get the structure off the ground. Considering the scale of the work being carried out, the contractor will be in several other categories such as main contractor and subcontractor. While the main contractor is considered about all the works involved within a project and is accountable to the client, the subcontractor is often only responsible for the certain part of the works, for example electrical engineering, plumbing and landscape. However, the contractors and subcontractors could bear other titles which include principal contractor. As it is in the UK health and safety regulations, prime contractor referred to by large government clients in the UK. The subcontractors could be also described based on what they do. For example, if they are specialists in trade works, general works, domestic work, and many others. So the third one is suppliers. The business dictionary defines a supplier as a party that supplies goods or service. In construction, the goods include any materials that go into a built structure, while service refer to all different works packaged agreed upon by different parties pertaining to the development of the built structure. Recently, the industry has realized the importance of the supply chain and how this can manage when carrying out project activities. With the growth in off-site construction expect to continue, supply chain management is becoming more complex. The fourth process is project planning and controlling. In planning phase, plan is made and strategies are set, taking into consideration the company policy, procedures and rules. Planning provides direction, unifying framework, performance standard, and helps to reveal future opportunities and threats in planning. The following steps are followed. The objective of the project in defined words, goals and states intermediate to attain the final target. Forecast and means of achieving goals, activities, organization, resources, financial, managerial and operational to carry out activities and determine what is feasible and what is not. Alternative individual course of action that will allow accomplishing goals. For consistency with company's policy, an alternative which is not only consistent with its goals and concept but also one that can be accomplished with the evaluate resources. And last one is decision on a plan. In project planning, they have forward planning, backward planning, combined planning, and resources classification. The forward planning is planner starts from the initial event and builds up the event and activities logically and sequentially until the end event is reached. What event comes next? What are dependent events? What events can take place concurrently? The second is backward planning. The planner starts with the end event and arrange the events and activities until the initial event is reached. The planner asks himself, if we want to achieve this, what events or activities should have taken place? The third planning is combined planning. Combination of both forward planning and backward planning. At any stage, the planner may need to traverse the network back and forth several times until it is found to be satisfactory. Questions of the planner: what event or events must be complete before the particular event can start? What event or events follow this? What activities can be accomplished simultaneously? So the last one is resources classification. Manpower, material, machine time and money. So the second project is project controlling. This phase is carried during the execution of the project. The difference between the scheduled performance and actual performance are reviewed once the project starts. Project control is established to determine deviations from the basic plan, to determine the precise effect of this deviation on the plan, and the replan and reschedule to compensate for the deviations. Controlling, the following steps are followed. The standard and targets are established and targets are generally exposed in terms of time. Performance is measured against the standard set down in the first step. The deviation from the standard are identified. The last process is a successful construction. There are 5 strategies for planning a successful construction project. So the first one is careful contracting. Aside from the construction work itself, the contract is the most important part of the project. In the case of a well-written contract, the written terms careful and clearly define the parties' agreement, their expectation, and their respective risk and obligations. Owner draft contracts frequently seek to protect the owner from all possible claims. Such contracts contain exculpatory language, waivers, and limitations intended to bar virtually all claims by the contractor. The idea is to protect the owner from all foreseeable and unforeseeable risk by shifting responsibility for those risks to someone else. One side contract, however, may generate as many claims as their prevent. Construction disputes are best avoided through a fair allocation of project risk. The guiding principles are the risk should be allocated first to the party who has direct control over the portion of the construction that creates the risk, and when no party has direct control, to the party who is the best able to protect against an unexpected loss. When no party has any control, risk is allocated to the owner, who is the party that initiates the construction project and is the ultimate beneficiary of the result. So second one is independent cost estimates. Another way to ensure a successful project is to limit budget overruns by obtaining independent cost estimates as the design progresses. This involves checking and double checking the cost estimate for the work with contractor and suppliers who actually perform the type of work or supply the type of product, being specific as opposed to leaving this task to the design team. An owner can use an outside consultant to provide objective information from trades or use its own personnel to obtain the estimate. Although this service involves an extra expense, the expense is modest and well worth the cost. So third one is establish a firm budget. While every project has a budget, some budgets are firmer than others. To reduce the risk of overruns, an owner should establish a firm budget and direct to the architect and engineers to design to the budget. The owner should clearly establish the budget from the start and hold the designer to the budget. Also, the contractor with the designer can be written the required them to revise the plans at no cost if the budgets exceed the budget by a state percentage. Note that such a provision is difficult to negotiate with the designers but can provide an important safeguard for the owners. Use add and delete alternative. Under this approach, the design team pre-plans certain component of the work which the owner may delete if the bids come in too high, and add if the bids are lower than expected. Making sketch of alternative design concept help communicate and fix the project scope of work, aids in determining project feasibility, and provide more input for developing realistic estimate, budget, and schedules. Cost estimates are prepared for each alternative to ensure selection of the best system and component. Pre-planned add and delete alternative protect the owner from the delays, disruptions, and extra expense caused by redesigning the project after bids are received, and shift the consideration of alternative to the design when the opportunities to control costs is the greatest. So last one is peer review the design. An incomplete, inaccurate, or poorly coordinated design inevitable will produce a project with conflict, unanticipated cost, delays, and claims. Conversely, nothing diminish the risk of conflicts and provide protection for the owner more than an accurate and complete design. Peer review involves an independent architect or engineer reviewing the plans in an effort to uncover errors, omissions, and inconsistencies. The modest cost is justified by avoiding the delays, disruptions, and extra costs which usually are involved when design errors are discovered in the field after construction is underway. So that's all from me. Thank you.